Hello and welcome. They say it takes 4 to make a podcast, but I'm here to tell you, as Adam Cook would say, because that's me, that it takes 2, but there's 4 of us. It's episode 438. Welcome, Adam Carroll. It takes 2, Adam Carroll, doesn't it? Wouldn't you say so? Does it, though? Does it? But there's... Well, the thing is what I was leading up to there is that it takes 2 Adams, 2 Chris's, because there's another Chris Hyde and Chris. See, it was actually very good. No, do you know what?
Chris was sassy straight away, and
the other thing
enjoyed it.
that would help, right? Just for those watching live, the other thing that would help with the podcast, okay, is if for the first minute I had unmuted you guys so you could be heard. That would be really good for a podcast, I feel. I feel it would improve the audio overall to just let you guys be heard on the podcast. We could, do you know what? I've got an idea.
I don't know.
I've got an idea.
I think like an hour monologue of you.
No, I've got an idea, right? This can be the pre-podcast banter because I can just do this, right? I'm just going to mute everyone and start it again live. This is what the podcast is really like. If you only listen to the audio version, you're never going to hear this. Because watch this. We just go fade to black and start again. Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast, episode 438. My name's Adam Cook, your host here, and I'd like to think if you were watching the video introduction, you would have seen pictures and images of us having fun and Chris White laughing at a joke that some people just may never get. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely here for you to do a podcast with. Is that all right? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fantastic.
It takes 2 Chris's to make a podcast, doesn't it, Chris Hyde? It takes.
It does, mate. But if you keep coming to me second, you'll probably get me angry, and I'll become a monster.
And I wouldn't
get a
like
rise
you.
Out of me.
Oh no! Oh, that's disgusting. That's a
It
really
is disgusting. But I'm playing my part.
It's hard to work with. Like that's fair play to him.
Yeah.
Do you know who isn't hard to work with?
with?
Do you know who isn't hard to work with? Adam Carroll. Hello, Adam.
Yeah.
How are you, mate?
Oh, well, I'm good. I don't know if the lads have worked with me before. I think really, Adam Cook, only you did like over the last 3 days properly work with me. Let's get straight into it.
Yeah. Why not?
It takes 2.
It does.
Okay.
To play the game, it takes 2.
It takes 2. Right, where do I begin? Chris White, first off, you gave this a 10, right?
I did, yes.
And I think that's a good place to start because you should have given it 11 because that game is something else. Okay, like listening to you guys talk about it last week, I think it was hard to like. No, definitely after playing it, you don't want anything spoiled. Okay, you don't want anything spoiled in this game. It's like you just don't even want to touch upon a single mini game that's in this whole thing. You just don't want to spoil it because they're all such amazing surprises. I think that this is possibly the best platforming game I have played on like a PlayStation console. I mean that. Like I think we always go towards like the Mario and the Nintendo kind of area of stuff for platforming. Like there's some great PlayStation platforms, don't get me wrong, and Xbox and stuff like that. But I just think It Takes Two has elevated an idea or elevated a genre to such height that like it's almost like a crying shame that this isn't like, I know Monster Hunter is out and I'm in that camp as well. We'll get to it, but yeah, I didn't even think of that. Oh, well done, Chris.
It's what I bring, mate. It's what I bring.
Thank you. But It Takes Two is one of those ones that I just think like, is it going to be missed? Is it like, are people going to like forget about this? Are they just going to like, I know people know about it, but like with the likes of Rise and stuff existing currently, and people are really just like putting countless hours into that, are we ever going to get it? Like, are people going to go back to It Takes Two? Because here's the thing, and this is not really like a criticism as such. It's just for me personally, like if I was going to give this game some sort of like a con, it can't work without another person. It is a co-op game, no matter what we play it. But I just think the game is so good.
But do you remember when you said to me about because the reason we played together is because you literally said you want to play it so badly, but you just don't have anyone to play it with, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is I'm sure you said something like, "Oh, I just wish there was." I'm sure you said there was. I just wish there was some way I could play this solo. But now you've played it, all of it. Well, sort of all of it, because you could go through the other character. You see what I mean? Like it wouldn't work. That you couldn't have an AI doing that. It just wouldn't work.
No, it couldn't. But here's the thing: playing that whole game now and having all those moments that it delivers in my brain, I want to play it straight away again. But like, I wish I could do it. Like, just go off on my own and discover the areas that I missed on. It's just one of those games. The game is so good in all these elements that you're kind of going, I'd love to just play that again myself now and just go through the mini games again. Whether it was just like, I don't know, some computer generated one of the characters, whatever, and they just roll with me and stuff. Like, even if it just let me do that, it's the only thing that I have against this game, like genuinely, because what the game does. Now, I've listened, like this got great reviews. It has gotten great reviews, but like I'm hearing things from people like on other podcasts. I'm not going to be dropping names, but like the level of excitement that's not there, like when people are chatting about it, is blowing my mind. Because if you take Astro's Playroom, when that dropped, and I know it kind of takes like it came with the excitement of the PS5 and the controller and all that jazz. Like Astro's Playroom, I loved it. It was in my top 10 of the year and stuff. I think it was actually top 5 even. Everyone was on board with it. Everyone was saying they wanted a full Astro's Playroom game, and we all still do. We all do. But It Takes Two is one of those things that like I just think like it's Astro's Playroom on steroids. It's delivering ideas that I couldn't believe. Each moment of gameplay is so new all the time. It never overstays its welcome in its ideas. Like every item you have to use, or weapon, or whatever you want to call it, you use it for that one area, and then you'll be thrown into something brand new again. And you never will get that moment again. It's like, there it is. You've done that moment. Have at it. There was a part that Chris Hyde mentioned that I would go insane over. I absolutely went insane over it. It so took me away that I was just like, I actually was on my headset to you, Adam Cook, roaring. I was like screaming, going, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. And I think there's so many moments from start to finish like that. I think there's a lot of moments that people will discover early on and be like, oh, that was my moment for me. And it's when the credits roll last night, I text you straight after, and I just said, Ed, I can't believe that game. I can't believe what it achieved, what it went for, the love letter it writes for other games. And you started mentioning back, just remember this moment. And I was like, oh my God, I do. Because we played this in the space of like 3 days or something, 3 sessions anyway.
Yeah, it was, 3 sessions.
3 playthroughs. And it's such an amazing length as well, the game. Like, I think it's about 10, 12 hours maybe, depending on...
It's about 12, give or take.
Yeah. how much you end up exploring around the areas that you're in. And it's so perfect. And then, like, as you're playing it, it never feels like, oh, this could probably wrap up now. Like, you know, they've run out of ideas. They never do. They never do. And there's, like, even moments that they don't need to let you play. It could have been done in a cutscene that you just watch and go, wow, look at the colors, or look at the level design. And that's another thing, is the overall level design in this game is just jaw-dropping. Because if you take what, like, moments of, like, Titanfall 2, and I know that's a random game to throw out there, but there is a level in Titanfall 2, there's a level in Dishonored 2 that everyone went nuts over. If you take even Hitman 3, that one particular mission in the kind of the James Bondy kind of one, the murder mystery kind of mission, everyone was chatting about that. There was, like, game sites were releasing, like, articles on it, and they were like, oh I like food.
It's all right. The stream can't see that. They're looking at you, Adam. Your wonderful face.
I'm starving now. But there was, like, tons of articles coming out that were complimenting that kind of level design.
Yeah.
It Takes Two, man, is doing something else that's, like, I can't believe that people can just sit by who have played it and just be like, yeah, it's really, really good, or it's like, I cannot wait for Game of the Year to come around, because I think, like, the whole game, if you haven't played It Takes Two by the time we talk about this game at the end of the year, then you may as well just not listen to that episode, because we're just going to spoil everything pretty much.
It's like last year with The Last of Us, where we ended up with X amount of parts that went into best moment, but we had to whittle it from 6. But we had to say we can't have all Last of Us. I feel like, and we won't spoil here for obvious reasons, because I did see reviews that spoiled, I think, 2 of the coolest parts of that whole game. I don't know. I feel like the whole game is like one massive moment filled with, like, I mean, I don't even know. I can't think how many levels there are, but every one of them. I mean, there are some. Yeah, there are some moments that are bigger than others, but it's not a spoiler as such, because we've shown it ourselves in our Let's Play, but even the early stage with the hammer and nail, you think, and I know I can speak for both Chris's, because we both played it preview-wise, you play that, and as I said to you, Adam, last or whatever it was, that I felt like, and Chris said it the other week, I think, Chris Hyde, have they shown you the best levels first? Have they, in order for you to give it, because that's sometimes how marketing works. You can only preview what you play, and if the thing you play is amazing, but it's only 2 hours of 12, who knows? Yeah. And yet, I would say, actually, while I still find that hammer and nail level amazing, and the wasp sort of treehouse level rather, I also think that's amazing. I actually think there's probably, 3 levels I prefer. Maybe, in fact, I think maybe they're my least favourite levels now. Although, you know, there's a moment at the end of the treehouse that is magic, which one of the moments I saw spoiled. But I think they might be the weakest of the levels in some respects. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing statement. Like, for me, because I've still not.
No.
And I know you hate me for this, because I've been playing something else.
Wrote a song about it, mate.
I know. But that's amazing for someone like me, who's only played the previous, sort of the first 2 chapters.
Yes.
And going, that's an amazing experience. Those levels, those ideas, the execution, everything else.
Yes.
Is amazing. It's such a standard. You're like, and I was worried, like you said, it would drop off. I think I said it last week. The fact that it doesn't, and that it actually might get better.
Oh, it definitely gets better.
That, you know, you're talking about, which it just, I am looking forward to playing it. I just need to tear myself away from something else and then find a friend. But
I will play it a third time. I will play it a third time.
Yeah, I'd play it again a second time.
Absolutely fine.
Like, I just have to say that, like, there's a part as well regarding the story here, okay, that, like, it's bothering me. It's bothering me massively, because I think I've heard people say that the story is either too dark in ways, or it's just too like on the nose with its theme and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of really fed up with it, because I think that like every game, like the last 2 games that I've been so incredibly passionate about, which would be this now, and then prior to that would be The Last of Us 2. I'm just so tired of the story trashing, because this game is it's a love story that's gone wrong, and it's trying to be repaired, and that's what that is. Pixar have done that in numerous movies. They tackle these themes of death and all sorts, and nobody comes out of that going, "Oh Jesus, that's too heavy," and blah blah. No, it's not. It's just, it is what it is.
I think if they opened the story with them very clearly hating each other, then I feel like, the conceit of this game's weird because they hate each other. That's why they're divorcing. I don't feel that that's ever implied. I don't feel it's ever implied that these two loathe each other and can't stand. Like, if that were the case, then they're building a game around, this mad. Also, can I just say, building a game around a magical book that shrinks 2 people down into doll form to then go on an adventure.
Didn't even talk about him.
But what? No, but do you know what I mean? Like, I said this last week or whenever it was, but like, okay, fine. If you're going to criticise this story, have at it. But then I want to see you, when you review Super Mario Odyssey 2, marking it down because the story's shite. Because you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
If a game sets its stall out as a Shakespearean sonnet of a story, if it sets itself as The Last of Us, I actually think, okay, if you want to criticise The Last of Us Part 2 story, I think there are things you could do, because the game is built around story. This game isn't.
Exactly.
We live in a world now where everyone has to be like A or B. Can we maybe, in a world and an industry that strives for inclusivity and an opportunity to kind of be whoever you want to be, why can games not do that? Why is it that we argue and shout about people who have a go at, like, there's always... I just don't get it. I don't get why this game has to be judged when it's very clearly the story is there to provide context for the gameplay. Like how a Mario game, there is a story cutscene that is in service of starting the video game.
Lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I think there's just... I think it just... Like you say, it matters if the story is centre stage or not. And it clearly isn't in this game, and like you say, in many others. And quite frankly, in most platforming games, it isn't. The story isn't ever front and center. The gameplay is what matters, and that may bother some people, but I think the majority of people in a platforming game will be going after the gameplay aspects.
But
of it.
For 12 hours, you don't spend 12 hours looking at cutscenes. You don't. You just don't. It is mostly platforming and puzzle solving. There are cutscenes kind of at the beginning and end of a level, maybe a little interjection between. Some of the longer levels maybe have a bit. I've played platformers in the last few years where I think they've focused so much on story they've forgotten it's a game. And I think that, for me, and that's a personal choice, I find those less enjoyable. I'd rather play a good game. And this, for me, and just feel like a good game. It feels like an extraordinary game. For me, people, I'm going to say it, people need to fucking grow up and realise that not everything is designed specifically for you. And sometimes some things have deeper meaning. Some things are designed for you to delve into them. Some games like a Nier or a Dark Souls game where the lore is hidden within the world. It is there for you to dive in. It's also okay for those games to exist as much as it's okay for a game to exist that's just fun and makes you smile nearly the whole time you're playing it. Like, not everything has to be overanalyzed. Just enjoy things.
And that's exactly it. Like, and I don't know, like, the divorce is something that everyone knows.
And I'm sure it's wrong.
Everyone understands the meaning behind it.
I'm sure it's bad, and sometimes it's probably really good. Sometimes it's really good as well, because.
But I don't know. I don't know what was supposed to be told. If people are like, the story just doesn't give enough. I'm like, what do you want? Do you want Cody to be beating up May? Or do you want May to be beating up Cody? Do you want like it just to end horribly? Do you want I don't understand. Like, it's either that's the theme that's at hand. And if you're not happy about it, then you just never want a game ever to tackle that subject matter. And that's that. But it's mind-blowing that, like, will turn people away from the game as such and be going, when what it does is crazy.
Did you
crazy good.
Did you play that Dragon Cancer? Because I think you're probably the only other person who might have here. Did you play that?
No, I never got around to it,
I did, and
unfortunately.
I was. Chris White, did you? No, you didn't, did you? I'm trying to think. I remember someone
No,
reviewed
unfortunately
it.
not.
I did play it, and I have lost quite a few people in my family to cancer, and it is not a very pleasant game, but it's not supposed to be. The game is a wrapping for the story to be told because it's someone's personal story, and I didn't come away from that going, oh, what an amazing game. But I also didn't come away from it going, oh, you shouldn't play this. It's just misery. Of course it's fucking misery. But it doesn't. These are two ends of the same scale that are allowed to coexist. You don't have to have only. It'd be very boring if every game was. You know.
I just want to say as well, one thing that just kind of pisses me off is that, like, look, games are out. They're coming out quick now, and we're getting to that stage. But I've heard more personally. In my view, I've heard more things about why Balan Wonderland is shit or why it's not shit.
Well, let's talk about Balan Wonderworld a bit, because Chris has played it. Chris has played it. I just have a. I mean, what do you? I mean, compare them, Chris. That would be fair.
My condolences, Chris.
So I think it's worse coming from It Takes Two to Balan Wonderworld, because obviously the platforming in It Takes Two is insanely good, but like it's just not smart at all. Like I started it because I was streaming it for the Geek the other day, and it took me ages to work out what I was doing. And then I remember Chris talking about the doors 1 and 2 and whatnot.
Did you do the same thing as me?
I didn't, but only because I remembered what you did. So I went round and like got the kind of the different power ups essentially, but it's just not. It's just not smart at all. Like the way if you get a power up that lets you, I don't know, hover across the ground, and then you get attacked, you lose that power up, and then you have to make do with what other power ups you may have acquired. So another power up is exactly the same as those creatures in the Wooded Kingdom Odyssey, where you kind of you grow and then let go and jump, that kind of thing. There's one of them. There's like another one where you jump and it's a whirlwind. And they're all designed to kind of get through this one level that I played. And if you die, you lose it, and then you have to make do with what you've got. And it's just the fact that like each move doesn't feel good in your hands. Like there is I was surprised the fact that it is literally one button for everything. Other than the actual movement, it's one button to do that maneuver.
Except for the menu, where you have to go all the way. Well, no, that is one button as well, isn't it? You have to go down to the bottom of the menu to press the exit button in the menu rather than just pressing back or something.
You think you can press 2.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, to press 2 in the menu and you can't, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And then, so the controls are bad. The level designs aren't terrible, but because the gameplay isn't sound, it's not satisfying, the levels appear boring. And then, like, when you've done the level, then you go into this open hub thing.
With the Tims.
And it's not explained at all what you're supposed to really do. Like, am I going into the level to collect these gems to then feed them? But then when I feed them, what the fuck's it doing in the middle of with whatever it is? And then where's the second level? Where the hell is the second level apart from the second door on the... It's literally like World 1, Door 1, go through that, do that, come out, feed these little gobshites, these gems, and then enter Door 2, go in Door 2, do more of a level, which has a boss, come out, and then no other levels open up. So where do I go from there? What am I supposed to do? Am I just supposed to keep letting gems out of the ground to then open up a new level, but it doesn't explain that's what you're supposed to do?
And presumably all this time you're wrestling the horrendous camera
as
well.
The camera.
Do you know
the cameras? And then
that was the thing that killed me. I was like, I can't keep.
There's
doing
another
this.
thing, like it's just weird. Like I get certain games are a bit odd, but there's this whole dance segment after walking through this
that is the
cutscene of a
worst.
farmer.
Oh,
and
that.
then they all start dancing with the creatures. That bit, yeah, but it leads up from this weird, like, what the hell is going on? Like, it's just no context. Controls a toss. Visually, yeah, it's pretty.
Is it
though?
It's pretty in the opening
cutscenes
sequence at the start.
Yeah,
And you go, this is going to be lovely.
Got some good walls, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't mean that. I mean, it'll do for like 6-year-olds who don't know the difference between what this is and what Mario is.
I don't know that it would though. Like, I think kids are smarter nowadays. You know, kids that are 6 now have had iPads since before they were born. You know, it's.
I know. I'm just trying not to be too harsh, but it's really shit.
I'm sorry. Like, it's a bad
put that
video
on the
game.
box art.
Well, no, it's like, you know, we don't normally have swearing in the podcast title, but "Feed the Gobshites" is just too good.
It's too good
to not be the podcast title for this week. So unless someone,
I would never play that game again. I had no inclination to carry on to see what it's all about. It was just awful. I still feel I would have felt that way if I hadn't just played It Takes Two, because you spend a bit of time on the Switch and play Mario for 5 minutes and you instantly realise, wow. I thought this guy was supposed to be good.
Well, you say that, but like, there's not been that many good Sonic games. There's been more bad than good, I would say, at this point. And with like, I don't know, like with Balan Wonderworld, all I'll say, and I think I've said this before, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, is I still genuinely want to commend Square Enix, because if I was in charge, I wouldn't have put that demo out. I would have chanced my arm that people would have just bought the new game from Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic. I'd have marketed it that way, and that's totally disingenuous and dishonest, but I have to commend Square Enix for putting that demo out, because unless someone who's in charge is totally oblivious, they must have known. And I will also commend them as well in terms of the sort of PR department for actually like giving people like us early access to the demo to try it. And the same with Outriders as well, another new IP which I like a lot more. But
what did they expect? What did they expect was going to come from that demo? And then this game in general?
But man, you kind of said it yourself, though. There is one really important thing we're sort of glossing over while we're talking about these 2 new platformers that came out the same day, by the way, as Monster Hunter Rise, which is maddening, because EA did this before with Titanfall, and they've done it again with It Takes Two, put it out on the same day as the biggest game of the year so far. But you said it yourself. People are talking more about Balan Wonderworld, whereas my own son...
Pile of ass.
No, but my own son said he kind of wanted to play It Takes Two, but none of his mates owned it. And I was like, well, that's... What? You don't... You're my son. I've been going on about this game for weeks, months, actually. He didn't realise that his mate could just download the friend pass. Moreover, people don't seem to realise that not only can you do that, you can actually, neither of you own the game, both download the friend pass and play the first level for free together. And then one of you just has to buy it, and you could just go halvesies and it doesn't matter who. So like we were talking about this ad, like the opportunity to play It Takes Two. There is a full demo. You just download the friend pass, and then if you do carry on, one of you buys it. But you said it yourself, more people are talking about Balan Wonderworld than It Takes Two, and that's a travesty, because I put it to you, Chris Hyde, you can't answer this at the moment, and I suspect you're almost like thinking, oh Christ, I'm not ready for December if this is the way things are going to go. But I put it to you both, Adam and Chris White.
It's cool.
Well, but you tell me what a game would have to do this year to beat It Takes Two, because I can't really think. I'm not saying like, well, it's March, April, whatever. It's done, game of the year, because we don't really know what's coming, and there are some games that could be incredible. Deathloop, Horizon. That, who knows? Maybe Nintendo shock us all with a Switch 2 and Breath of the Wild 2. Who knows? We don't. But I put it to you: what more could It Takes Two do? What?
Look, as it stands, the bar is extremely high,
and it's
that
March
game.
That came out,
and that's.
If I asked you now
so
to
goddamn high.
try and pick 10 moments from that game, just 10. Obviously, you're not going to, because it would spoil it. No, but I'm saying, could you narrow it to 10? Because literally, when we finished playing it last night, you were like, "Oh yeah," then there's the bit that Chris White we won't say what it is, but the bit Chris White was talking about, you were like, oh my god, that, because that was hours ago. And then I was like, well, what about that? Like the end of the Chris Hyde, you have played this. The end of the treehouse level, like the idea that
I've probably got about 5 or 6.
That's what I'm saying.
You must have at least 10.
But the end of the
Because I can
treehouse
say
level is like,
I was doing that.
yeah.
Because I would say moles. That's all I'll say.
Oh,
But the moles, oh my word, like that.
I forgot about them,
forgot
Chris.
About.
I forgot about them until I played them with Adam. I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is in the game.
That, not just like the gameplay bit, but like the bit at the very end, like of that section, is just ridiculous.
Yep. And the homages to the other games.
That's the thing. Like, there's so much in it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's. We will have trouble cutting it down, but like
we will. I think people are slightly prejudiced towards him because before this game, I would have said Joseph Fares rubs me up the wrong way a little bit, but I'd be open-minded, and this game has knocked my socks off, pulled them back up again, and knocked them off over and over again.
He's just proud. I know like the stuff with the Oscars and all that, but like him and his company, like he's very proud of it. He's not. I wouldn't say he's arrogant. But when like I talked to him and he said, because I was talking about that bit at the end at the end of the treehouse level.
Oh yeah.
And he says that's just the start. There's tons of stuff like that.
And he was right.
And I thought, yeah, all right. And he was 100% right. There is, and it's so yeah. I mean, the only thing for me is Horizon. If that comes out, which likely won't, but if that comes out, will. That's gonna and.
Do you think so? Yeah,
I really do think that will come out.
And and Endgame.
You think it will this year?
Horizon?
Yeah.
God of War won't, but Horizon will. Horizon definitely will come out this year. Horizon has to come out this year.
Okay.
You can't have a full year with a new console without a tentpole exclusive. And as much as I love Ratchet and Clank, that isn't it. They have. There's no choice. No. They will. That will come out. That will come out. I reckon. Sort of August, September, maybe.
December 31st.
Yeah, that's still out this year.
God, that'd be insane.
Yeah, that wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
But like, back to It Takes Two. Like, there's a moment. I forget. I can't spoil it, but there's a moment late on, quite late on in the game, where I said to Adam when we were playing, like, there are games where you would play this, and there are games where, like Adam says, they would feed you the cutscene. But there are moments where you would play that part, and you would think, you haven't earned this. You haven't earned this moment in a game. Just the kind of almost navel gazing. They've earned it 10 times over. Like you said, like Chris, they're not arrogant. I think they've earned the right to be arrogant because what we haven't mentioned, A Way Out was okay for me. The last game these guys made was A Way Out, which is a decent game, but the jump in quality, and not just. The actual game, the visual quality, the audio quality, the voice acting. Like, you have to say, fair play to him. One of the criticisms about A Way Out someone like me had was, you've done all the voice acting yourself. Maybe get voice actors. That's what they did. They went and got voice actors, and it's really well done.
To be fair, it was Joseph Fares' brother that did the voice acting in the first game, in A Way Out.
Yeah, true.
I thought they were Fares.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I did, to be fair,
Neville's cousin.
Because when I was interviewing him, I thought I was expecting the other guy, but then I realised there were two different people. I felt like a twat. But yeah, no, the voice acting is amazing, and like Dr. Hakim is just character of the year, surely.
Oh Jesus,
he's so
Makes
funny,
me smile with his little intro.
He's just naturally funny. Like, it's so hard to write humour in anything, and that's why it's so diversive comedy. But like in video games, even
I'd forgotten that as well the first time through.
Yeah, I mean, even then, video games tend to not be that funny when they try to, but they nail it. So yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about a little bit of the old monster hunting while I just sit here and listen, lads. In fact, look, I'm just going to do that. In fact, just for those watching live, hang on, for those watching live, I'm just going to do this. Carry on.
Probably sums up your opinion of the game.
Chris, I'd go on in because I'd say you've put in the most hours, definitely.
Yeah, I'd probably have. the question before I get into it, the question I guess I have for you two, Adam and Chris, like, what's your experience of the Monster Hunter franchise? Is it just World, or did you guys play any of?
No, I played Generations.
Okay.
I played a few on the DS. So I played World, but I didn't play Iceborne. But like
Adam want to answer as well.
Can I played the older games also.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay.
I'm World.
Because I do wonder if, like, I mean, Adam Cook's answer is probably putting a kibosh on what I was going to say, but it doesn't matter.
Did you think I'd only played World?
Yeah,
I played the DS, 3DS one, the Wii U one.
Oh, okay.
I played one before that, but I can't remember what system it was on. A Nintendo one, but I can't remember which one.
Yeah, because the thing about Monster Hunter Rise, the reason I asked that question is because for me it resembles much more, say, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the Wii U than Monster Hunter World, in terms of the decisions it takes, in terms of the way like quests are set up, the way it sets out its stall with a lot of its single player and online like mechanics. And I wonder if, because my experience of it, I've obviously played Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate and World, and so going into Monster Hunter Rise, it's still familiar because I've played both. Whereas I wonder, say someone like you, Adam Carroll, who's only got an experience of World, you might go into this this is whilst the premise and loop of hunting monsters are still there, the way it sets out its stall, I guess, to do that is probably a bit different for you from World, whereas for everyone else, probably at least can see, okay, I know what they're trying to do here because I have seen it before. So yeah, that was the reason I asked that question, because I did wonder, I wanted to gauge whether I guess, is that how you feel about Monster Hunter Rise? Have you found it weird?
Me?
Yeah. Or
I think personally, like from my experience of World, I think Rise is it's pretty much nearly quite similar, just with like the wire bug and stuff included, and I'm not really, whatever might be in there that's from previous older titles of the series, I'm not obviously seeing that. I'm only seeing kind of like upgrades more than anything from World.
I think so. I guess if I come at where I'm standing from, if I was to assess it, obviously mixed on the review, but I kind of agree with a lot of what he said. My assessment of Rise, I think, from the games I've played in this series, this is probably the easiest one to get into in terms of difficulty. I would say it's probably like the monsters go down quicker. That's what I mean in terms of difficulty. In terms of, I guess, to counter that, there's a lot of different mechanics that they throw at you, and they over tutorialize them, and they ask you every time, do you want to quit this tutorial? And Jesus, yes, I just want to quit this tutorial. But I do think it's, like, I agree with Mick when he said it's the easiest one to get into in that sense, because I think the difficulty, it is easier, and I don't think that's just because of the experience of other games. Monsters go down quicker. It does feel easier to do. The other thing, I think there does seem to be a bigger difference in challenge between single player and multiplayer. I don't know how much you guys have played between the two, but I find if I'm playing on my own, I'll down a monster in 5 minutes. If I play with someone else, I'll down the same monster in 15 minutes.
I was quite taken aback by the single player when I went back to it. How quickly they drop. Even in single player, I would be used to, right, you beat him down a bit, he'll run off. Beat him down a bit more, he'll run off. At least 2 times, and maybe the 3rd time you get him down. In this one, and I'm sure it ramps up, because I have spent almost all my time in multiplayer, but I was you're quite surprised, because literally the 2 monsters I did just to see if I could, it was like, oh wow, they're limping to the 2nd stage, where I just literally got there. In fact, one of them, I could, if I was quicker, I could have trapped him the first time I met him, which was like, wow, that is not what I'm used to. Whereas, as you say, online, you can do that, but generally speaking, they are much more damage spongy than.
It feels like, so say like there's 2 of you, it feels like they've done more than just double the hit points of the monster.
There's like aggression changes and.
Yeah. So it definitely feels easier. So if you are one of those people that go, okay, I'm going to put some time into the single player. I think quite a lot of people who did this, do the single player first, get up to grips with it, and then venture online. You probably find, rattling through these, you go online and go, whoa, okay. It's a lot, like you say, Adam, a lot more aggressive, probably takes longer. not find yourself in trouble, because I still think it's probably an easier game than some of the others, but there is that difference that I've definitely noticed. And so I haven't completely finished all the single player, because I've done both single player and multiplayer, but I'm nearing the end and I'm still finding that monsters are going down in sort of 10 minutes. So it is still that, like, because your weapons get better as the monsters get stronger, like that doesn't, not to the point you're saying with the first screen, like they're not going down within that, but they're not taking me 20 minutes of like, and all my potions going. That's not happening at the moment now. And I know I'm not the best Monster Hunter player on our team, and I'm not the best Monster Hunter player in our Patreon by any stretch, but I would say it definitely feels like, it's accessible for a person to complete the single player missions, I guess, which is a good thing.
I think like I completely agree with what you're saying. I've put more time into this than any other Monster Hunter, and like I'm on 5 stars in the single player. So like one of the examples which you're talking about, the difficulty being quite a step up, is Magnum Arlo in single player.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you take that on in, like I've played the whole game so far, apart from one monster with the bow, because I'm in love with that mechanic and how that works. So I kind of really wanted to start with the bow, and I've kind of taken it through and leveled that up. But the Magnum Arlo, like, it is a challenge in single player, but when you go online, like, jeez, it ramps up. So like, because the star systems are different, aren't they? So like your village, you your own star rating. So you can go up to, is it 7?
7, I think, is the top. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like the fucking, what's that horrible monster? Is it like Gos Halag?
Gos Harag, yeah.
Harag. Oh my god. I took that on in multiplayer with like 3 randoms, and it was just, I felt like such a noob. And I've kind of reached a point now where that kind of step up to the high ranks, and the kind of focus more on individual stats and that side of it is kind of creeping in more. You can't just kind of mix and match as much as you could earlier on. Like they really pay attention to it, and obviously the monsters kind of changed to a certain point with their patterns and their aggressions, and they're a lot more specific in how they attack. So I'm kind of enjoying that part of it now, and it's more of a grind now. Like you go on more expeditions to go and farm certain minerals or whatnot, but I'm loving how you can then use like the Meowston areas. Like you can level your buddies up, and like when you've got like a clan of like 15, you can just go and send them all out on quests to go and recover monster parts or other items. Then you've got the Argosy, which you could do the same. There's just so many things in this game, and whilst certain elements aren't explained the best, you soon kind of find your pattern. And like the single player is great, but the kind of multiplayer, whether you play with, I mean, it's better with mates, absolutely, because you can talk to them and kind of devise your strategy or whatnot. But even in randoms, like the way that there's a rampage at the end of level 2, isn't there? Like on the gathering hub, where you have to complete that before you can move up to level 3. I joined that when it was already like 2/3 of the way through. So I came in, we won, and I still received all the awards, which I was kind of like a bit gutted about, because I wanted to do the whole thing. So I'd much rather join a fight in the beginning, but at least the game does give you that option where if you are struggling to find anyone, you can just join a request and in you go. So
can I ask a question to everybody about Rampage? Because has everyone played the Rampage? Which
I haven't done one yet.
Castle
No.
Defense.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you two have. What are your thoughts on that? I'm really interested to hear how people feel about playing them.
I think like I've only done like 1 or 2 anyway, but it's definitely like I play it and I kind of go, cool, because there's a similar thing in World. That's
what I was going to ask. Is that not because like there's
a
midpoints in World
story,
where you do sort of that?
It's more or less a story mission.
Yes,
kind of thing. I don't know. Like I think Rampage
it's when the big bad
mode you can no tackle
comes. And you have to kind of fight him. I can't think what it's
called. There was missions in World where you had to like fire ballistas and
that's it. Yeah,
it's a big monster.
Yeah.
I just think overall, Chris, like it's perfectly fine. I think it's a grand addition to the package. It's just not as exciting as the general premise of what Monster Hunter is about.
That is like that's my view on it as well. I think Mick Fraser really loves them, but I'm.
But they're
when I'm in
kind of
them, I
grindy,
really-
aren't they? They're like the
they
natural
take-
extension of the grind. It is literally just.
Yeah, I just feel like it's not as fun to stand behind a ballista and shoot.
Exactly.
No,
as it
of
is
course not.
To
That's
jump
not...
down and twat them with a sword, it just isn't. And
I mean, that's why I haven't bothered. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, that's
and
why
I-
I haven't even
I-
done one because I'm not interested.
I'm sure because I've not really spent a lot of time like upgrading the stronghold and like
Right.
doing stuff with it, and that might be exciting. But like, I just kind of feel like I'd much if I'm going to spend the next half an hour playing, I'd rather deck some monsters in real time. That's more interesting to me right now. But I probably need to play about with it a bit more. But I just because
it kind of adds another level of strategy to it because you kind of. I mean, I'm in the same camp as you. Like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But I would much. I've like not done any of the rampage quests. Like I've just done the one that I had to, and then carried on hunting monsters. But when you do get in there, like obviously you can level it up as you go because the more you protect your base, the more you can add like machine gun cannons kind of things and all these. So the one I joined that was on about a minute ago. Like there was so much stuff kicking off. Like it was a lot of fun, but it takes a lot for you to get those into your arsenal. So it does kind of, and it kind of takes away the kind of magic of hunting monsters because they become like a horde, like which is a point. But like it's like the difference between Alien, the first film, and the second one. Like there was one Alien where you couldn't kill it; it was indestructible. To Aliens where she's just gunning them down and whatnot. So.
Chris, Alien or Aliens would you pick? Just quickly.
Which one would I pick? Alien.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Good man.
Oh, really?
Continue. Yeah.
Well, hang on. Before we move too far forward, we have a couple of comments in the live chat about this. So, Philip Tyndall says, regarding Monster Hunter Rise, other than the baffling amount of things to learn, which is fair, what really irks him is no proper lock-on and the health bar for the monster, leaving me feeling I'm fighting thin air 90% of the time. I totally get that. I'm one of these that when it comes to the idea of a health bar for them, I absolutely understand why there isn't one. But the fact that you're seeing damage numbers, it feels like, well, what's the point other than to let me know how much?
It excites me. But wouldn't it excite?
I think it's one of those. I think it's
I don't know. I like it.
I'm torn.
I prefer that there's not because, but then I also wouldn't be averse if they said there's an option to put it on there if you want.
You couldn't have an option because if you had the option and us four were playing and I've got it on and you don't want to know how much health is left, I'm ruining the game for you.
That only if you be an arsehole.
Which I would. I'm sorry. I didn't realise I wasn't clear enough about what I would. I would do it.
You'd be like, halfway through, lads.
Yes, 3 more hits. Right, okay. But Phil also mentions the lock-on, and that is something I wanted to touch on as well. Sorry, Ad, I know you want to jump in just quickly because I forget there is a lock-on until it reminds me there's a lock-on, and it doesn't lock on.
I'll be honest.
I don't get it.
It said, use this to lock onto monster. I didn't really notice a difference, so now I don't bother with it, and I just...
It follows it. It follows it briefly, because I have seen the camera swing towards it, but then it just stops. But then Deadbeat Punk has said, think a lock-on would maybe make the range weapons way overpowered. But then I don't know that it would because you see, I played a lot of the last game ranged, and it's like, well, I didn't miss many shots because I was never so close. They're quite big, the monsters. So and Deadbeat Punk also says, was the game I was referring to Monster Hunter Try on the Wii, and I think it was. Yeah. So sorry, Adam.
I just want to jump in there what Philip said because this is actually one of the reasons why I love Monster Hunter so much is the fact there actually is no lock on. No, whether you say there is, I personally don't notice it whatsoever. And the fact I don't see the health bar. Like, to me, when I first started playing World, getting to grips with obviously all the controls and things done is daunting, don't get me wrong, but I kind of find my own little way and I kind of go, right, off I go. When I realized that all the timing of my hits and that was down to me, I love that kind of whole thing, whether you go for some massive like jump in the air or something, when you nail it, it's an amazing feeling. When you don't nail it, you feel like an arse, and that's just that. But the fact you don't have a health bar, then it's kind of like, I'm so down for that, because when you see the monster running away limping, and when you're especially online with friends and you're like, yeah, it's on the way out, and you're all just charging, you all like nobody's spending time on sharpening. They're like, he's almost dead. Let's just fucking get him. And
There is that moment when they're down and they're in the corner and all four of you are just waiting on him. It's so satisfying.
Outstanding.
So
and see,
good.
I do get, like, if the health bar is there, like, it'd be fine. But, like, I think maybe if they threw it in to have an option to turn it on or off for people, maybe they could do that. Yeah. But I would definitely always have it off because I just like seeing the.
Sorry.
I just love not seeing the damage there
the one thing I wanted to talk about very briefly was the wire bug, because like I think it's a great addition. I really didn't get on with it in the demo, actually. I for some reason I couldn't get my fingers to work in the order it needed to work in the demo, and poor Steve from our Discord, one of our patrons, was just basically telling me how to climb up a wall and stuff, and it was like, you know, baby's first Monster Hunter game with me. But now I've kind of got to grips with it. I absolutely adore it, and how you can fly around.
Question for you. So the wire bug system, anyone who's played it knows you start with 2 wire bugs, and you can there's combat options. You can get a third, but the idea is traversal, that you can like wire bug up or forward or even like a quick. It's kind of like they do it in fighting games now. Like if you hit the button combo at the right time, you can jump out of the down.
Yeah.
At any point in the early stages when they're tutorializing a lot, at any point do they tell you that you got a free wire bug when you're in the air? Because unless I had a glitch, so say you jump with your wire bug, so you would press right trigger and X, so like that, okay? In the air, if you then press the A button, you throw one above you and you just suspend from it, swinging until you make your next move.
Oh yeah, I did that once by mistake.
It doesn't seem to drain endurance. It doesn't seem to use a wire bug, and it's like, hang on, that's brilliant, because you can go for a big jump, swing it, and you just swing it, and okay, you get a bit of a swing.
No, Deadbeat Punk just says there you press A to hang in the air.
Yeah, well you hang off
out of it.
Yeah, but like I don't ever remember being told it. But it's bloody useful.
Jesus Christ, there's a lot of things the game doesn't tell you.
But that seems a surprise, because the wire bugs are the thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because there is a
I missed it.
The wire bug tutorial thing.
So it's possible I missed it, but I think it's a cool thing.
Because I did it in the demo, so
that might be the same for me.
In the main game,
you go and troll through the hundreds of menus to find out. Mate.
No, that is fun. I admit that is fun. I mean, moment of the year. Monster Hunter Rises menus are right up there. Right up there. Own arse. Sorry, I didn't finish the sentence.
I have to say, I think the wire bug is good, but it's not like completely blowing my mind.
Have you done any of the expeditions where you, rather than hunt monsters, you just used? Because I tell you what, that was the thing that changed it for me a little bit. When me, Chris, and Steve, wasn't it? We just went around the level, exploring the level, and using your wire bug and being like, "Can we get all the way up there? We can get up there." That is really cool.
To me, the best. It's that. And when you get knocked back and you can press, I don't know if it's Z, L, and B to get back up. That's the best thing about it. But like using it to like kind of zip in on a monster, I don't really get that, because most of the time I'm always like, the monster's just gone out of my sight, and I'm like, shit, and I've wasted it. I think as well, and I've heard other people say this, down to just having only 2 or else you get the third one. I really think they should have just had it as just your stamina bar. Like you can use as many times.
Part of it would have made sense.
The length of the stamina bar that you have.
No, I get
that's just that. Because it's not the most impressive range, if I'm honest. Like,
and it doesn't do the biggest damage either.
Yeah.
You could, actually saying that, if you could spam 5 or 6 of the wire bug attacks, I think they would have to have some sort of separate cooldown.
Yeah. I absolutely 100%. I 100% welcome it into the game, definitely. But there's just already, like, if I was going to start tweaking on stuff for future games, the wire bug is one of those things already. I would be like,
I do like diving on another monster and controlling that, and either throwing him at a wall or battering the monster you're trying to battle.
Yeah,
I think that loses its luster a little bit. Like, it's always fairly cool, but I find the wire bug traversal is always cool. Whereas I feel like when now 2 monsters clash, you're kind of like, one of them's going to go down, and I'm going to wyvern ride.
I think that, like, I remember the turf wars from World, and I used to think they were always cool. Like when like a Rathian would come down and just pick up a Baroth and then just drop it for like 200 damage. You're like, that's cool. Just watch. I think the one where you might like, where you like silkbind onto the monster you're fighting and just throw him into a wall.
Yeah,
that's good, but that's the thing that gets, or that almost gets
Yes.
like, okay, I'm just going to do this 3 times to do damage, and then I'm going to jump off.
Carry
because I'm
on,
gonna
yeah.
do damage.
Yeah.
But I have to say, when like a Magnamalo enters the scene, you're like, right, you're going to get some pain here. And you just get on the back of that and lay in the smackdown. That's especially if it's against a really weak monster. You're just going to get annihilated. That does still, depending on the monster that appears. Sometimes a really crap monster appears, and you're like, just go. You're not worth it. But like sometimes that even now another monster beating up another monster and being in control of it, I still get a bit of a kick out of it.
Okay,
but I agree, the wirebug stuff I get more from the traversal aspect.
Definitely.
By a mile, and some of the unlocking some of the, like to Adam's points, finding like there's loads of hidden stuff up high.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it's part of the map that you can go on most of the time, because that's not where the monsters go. And you realize there's all these other bits you can go and explore and find loads of stuff. And like I say, we went on a couple of expeditions which were just, I don't know, find some mushrooms or something, or kill some monsters, like little monsters, and we just went off for 20 minutes and just started, well, could we go up here? Yeah, we can. Oh, let's go over here. Oh, I've found this. Come over here, lads. And that was equally as interesting and entertaining and fun as smacking a monster's ass. So
no, it's fine. I mean, so everyone's enjoying Monster Hunter Rise and will continue to do so, I think, for a while. I genuinely need to get you off that to play It Takes Two. Seriously.
I know you do. I've let you down.
No, not for me. No, you've let yourself down.
For me.
Yeah, you've let yourself down, mate. There's no.
I've let
Adam hasn't he? He has let himself down, right?
I understand where you're at.
Yeah, I get
but
it.
like when you play It Takes Two,
and I said this
you
to
are
Adam.
gonna
I was
be-
like, it was like, look, it's new game week.
Sure, you
And so
said
I
it, but
wanna-
actions speak louder than words, mate. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You will play it. I know you will, because I know you love that genre of game, and I know you will.
I will
I don't want to
definitely-
write any more songs about
Maybe
you,
not
mate.
with
This
you.
is like an intervention for you. I don't want to write any more songs for you. Okay, that's.
Don't lie.
No, I did
I'm your
enjoy that.
muse.
It's probably the most enjoyment I've had outside of It Takes Two. So, I've written down here on our podcast document that we should talk about Nier Replicant in a preview sense, Chris White. But I'm not sure we should, because I think the things I want to talk about, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about, am I? Yet.
Absolutely not. No, it's worth mentioning the combat, because that's about all we can talk about. So you get an idea. I've put in 10 hours, and I can talk about precisely an hour of that.
Yeah, boss battles.
So, two boss battles, and the combat. I mean, the combat's great.
Yeah, the combat is great.
But
it's Nier.
in order to kind of go into it, you kind of have to bring in all the other stuff. So it might be better if we just
maybe
just read the preview and watch the video.
Read the preview, watch the video. We'll have more on Nier Replicant probably nearer release. Maybe so. Like, there's the thing is, it's like Nier Automata. There's a lot to talk about with those games. So I sort of,
because it's all story as well. And
this is the thing. Like, I mean, if people want to ask us questions, we can try and answer them from the live chat. I kind of don't want to just sit here and talk about the combat, because I would be saying things like, you hold down R1 and you fire off, it's magic now instead of a gun, like you did in Nier Automata, and you change weapons So before we move on to listener correspondence, I did just want to very briefly, and I suspect we'll talk about this more next week, I do also want to talk about Outriders, because I've had a strange journey with that game. I played, again, we had early access to the demo, and I played that and thought, this is kind of alright, gives me sort of Mass Effect vibes, gives me Division vibes. Finally played it co-op with Chris White. Jesus, I'm turned around on that game. That game's a terrific amount of fun. My word. Like, on my own, it was fine. Like, mechanically, I think the shooting's good. I think the shooting has a good weight to it. Visually nice, runs well on the Series X. But kind of feels a bit, I don't know, a bit weird. A bit like I'm playing, they won't like me for saying this, a bit like I'm playing a service game all by myself. However, joining Chris White, who, by the way, just again, shout out crossplay. Chris is playing on PS5. I'm playing on Series X. I don't think they've implemented voice chat yet, but we found a way. We're used to this with Monster Hunter and Nintendo. his skills as trickster, I believe, complemented mine as pyromancer in a way so well that I was originally planning on restarting the game as a different class because I didn't enjoy the pyromancer. It just didn't feel right. It's got this thing where, like, so one of the moves is you press L1, well, you map it to what you want, but you throw like out, you sort of summon up a fire out of the ground and it goes across the map to the enemies. But to do that, you pop out of cover and you're vulnerable. So it's this weird thing of all your special moves like that. So as a pyromancer, if I'm using something to burn them, if I shoot them and kill them, I regenerate my health from using that. So it's like a constant thing. But it also feels weird because I'm in cover. I don't need to use my skills because by using my skills, I come out of cover and they shoot me and I have to use more skills to get. But with Chris, his trickster moves are like he had one that like you just do this big bubble and it slows them all down. So you can kind of. I felt like I had no answer to up-close combat apart from a shotgun, and even that, I can't fire it quick enough. The enemies are too quick. But his bubble meant I could get away from them, and he's got some cool, and it really works as a co-op.
It's
shooter.
so satisfying. Like the shooting itself feels good. Like the guns feel quite weighty, and they all feel different. But like as you're saying, like the pyromancer, the trickster skills, like one of them is this big bubble. So if you've got the enemies are quite smart. You have those that are ranged, and then you have certain ones that will run up to you. So if you kind of like if me and Adam are stood together, and there's a load of them coming up, I press this, and it slows all say there's 5 or 6 of them, slows them all down to bullet time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Apart from me, who's going at a normal pace, and we could just shoot them all and just kill them all, and then focus on the ones in the distance. And I've got another move which teleports me to behind an enemy, and I can shoot him or punch him or whatever. And then the other move is my favorite. It's like everyone read Watchmen or seen the film Watchmen.
I haven't. I would go Indiana Jones, the end of Indiana Jones as well for a similar, the where he drinks the wrong cup.
But there's a scene where Dr. Manhattan becomes Dr. Manhattan, where his whole body gets reformed, and it turns to skeleton, then disintegrates, and then reappears. Well, that scene, that's what happens when you press this button. You kind of make bodies disintegrate, and you see the flesh fall off, then the bones, and then they just poof, just disappear. And so I'm using all those, as well as using my guns, as well as using the power to, when I say punch someone, you kind of do this melee attack, which is quite forceful. So you've got so much to do, and then Adam's got his pyromancer skills. So 4 people, all with different ability. There's another one which is like a tank. So he's kind of will protect you lot, but will also go in hard.
As opposed to
it's
a tank
kind of
that
weird.
stays at the back.
Yeah, like in our But that is one of the weird proclivities. It's one of the weird proclivities of this game, in that there are 4 classes, and it's 3-player, which is weird. But whatever. But Chris, you mentioned the skill you can get behind them. I've got one as a pyromancer where I can almost do a scorpion style. Get over here, where I throw the fire and I pull them out of I stun lock them a little bit. So again, I don't know. The only thing I'm a bit worried about. I was talking to Mick Fraser, who's reviewing it for us, and he mentioned that they have actually listened to feedback. We had a sort of chat back and forth. They've listened to feedback. They've changed the motion blur. They've changed some of the things people complained about to suit what player feedback. And he sort of said to me, and that's what a demo's for, isn't it? And I went, no, that's this game's biggest problem. That's what a beta's for. You didn't call it a beta because you are obsessed with saying this game is not a service game. So you put out a demo. You didn't put out a beta. They put a demo out, which means that people who are traditionalists will look at it in the demo and go, yeah, I really hated that motion blur. I didn't like that. I think I'm going to skip it. They're not going to go, oh, I'll check back in, because it was a demo, not a beta. So such is their obsession with talking about what the game isn't, when let's fucking face it, it's a service game. It is. It doesn't have any microtransactions, but it's a service game. It is literally Division, Destiny. It is those things. It is those things. But because of the sort of obsession with not being labelled that and calling it a demo for their story-driven game, I think they've screwed up here, because I think people will have played the demo, not liked some of it, and gone, well, they're not going to change it. It's a demo. It's not a beta. It's a demo. Demo's just a teaser for the game. And they even, and I've used this, they even meant if you start the demo, you can carry on your progress into the main game, which I, by the way, love that. Fantastic, because the opening of this game's shite. I will say that. The opening hour of this game, shite. You don't get powers, nothing. It's just a bog standard kind of Mass Effect tryhard almost. And then it gets going, and let's say the co-op, I really like it. I think it's very strange the way they've messaged it. I'm really pleased with this game. Like, I'll be honest with you, Chris, you aren't going to like this. I'm afraid I want to play this more than I want to play Monster Hunter Rise right about now.
I am shocked.
Really? I like
This is my
Rise.
shocked face.
I like Rise, but I really, really do like the shooting in this game, and even some of the stuff like the boss battles, which are really hard. Playing with someone,
that
it's
boss
like
battle was amazing.
That was
like
great.
because two of us was doing
that
it.
was great.
I wouldn't like to do. Like I wouldn't like to play this game alone.
It was really tough alone. The thing I've noticed the most is just playing with other people instead of constantly feeling as though I have a target on my back and my back alone, and someone is just constantly shooting at me. It feels like I can be, and they suggest this. They suggest to be aggressive. I feel I can be aggressive because all the bullets from like 30 guys are aimed at me and other people.
Yeah. I noticed that. I noticed that because there was a scene where a load of them ran towards you when I was kind of free to kind of take out the people at the back, but then they kind of were quite overpowering. So I teleported and then used that shock trap and just froze them all, and we just battered them all. Like it's quite smart, and there's a lot of like small little quality of life things that they've put in that all kind of games like this should have in that. So they really have kind of. They're smart about it, but it's full on a service game, right?
It is. I don't know why. Well, I think I know why they're trying to shy away from it, because they don't want to be grouped in with the biggest hitters out there. But like, I don't know. Let's do some listener correspondence. Before we do, Deadbeat Punk has said It Takes Two is a milestone in games. I don't think he's taking the piss, and if he is, it's backfired because it is. I think of I'm already. You got to remember, like Chris White and I played it like over a week ago, and I'm already thinking of It Takes Two in the way I was thinking of God of War, in that I felt like it sets a new bar for stuff it does. I really do. I don't care what people say. I think It Takes Two sets a bar very high for a lot of production. Again, we've talked about the gameplay and the story. But
I'm excited to see what's next.
Well, that's the thing. What do they do next? Because I think he's going to keep doing co-op, because
they're doing Summit.
Yeah, they must be.
They are doing Summit.
This is definitely been ready for a long time, because when we played that preview build, it was polished, and that's the other thing about it we've not mentioned, aside the visual polish, aside the audio, the soundtrack. I want the soundtrack, man, badly, but it's a polished video game. Like, it feels Nintendo-like. Anyway, Phil Tyndall and McPoo ask similar questions. So, Phil Tyndall Live says, any plans for you to look at Disco Elysium Final Cut? Downloaded to both my PS5 and picked up on KOF Stadia. It is a great classic RPG. And McPoo asks, should I buy Disco Elysium? Answer the first one. Yes, we're reviewing it on PS5. Mick Fraser's taking care of that one. He played a bit of the PC version and loved it. So there's, we didn't get code for that until release day. I don't think anyone did from PlayStation. So it is what it is. Should he pick it up? I played it. I think so.
I got it at Christmas.
Yeah, that's right.
It was in the sale on Epic Games, and I put in about 15 hours, and I didn't stop because it got boring. Other things came up.
Yeah. And Adam, you've just started, haven't you?
It's fantastic. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, I would heartily endorse that game. Just to double up on that, Deadbeat Punk says he loves it. Disco, it's suddenly become a busy spell for games. Got chills a couple of times playing it. Phil Tyndall says, want to download Outriders on Game Pass, but find myself running out of space on my Series X. Next gen SSD game shuffling is a pain in the arse, and it's only been 4 months. Yep. Canal Block Punk.
Sorry, Deadbeat Punk, before you ask, that next question just says, when have I ever took the piss?
Yeah, I was just ignoring that.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that was warranted any kind of reply. Canal Block Punk, who is the same person, said, recently had a badge press sitting in my Amazon basket because it's obviously something I would get a lot of use out of. Any super sensible objects like this that the team keep almost buying themselves? Bonus points as always for Croc. Kiss, kiss. Oh, sorry, it's just one.
What did he have in his basket?
A badge press?
What's
No,
a
I don't-
What is
badge
a
press?
I'm glad you asked.
Two.
that, 'cause I was
I'm
like,
guessing you
I
press.
was like, I don't even know how to answer this question.
No, so like if that were a badge, you would press it onto your clothing, so it's a badge
like
press.
a heat thing.
Yeah,
Ah,
I don't know why I did
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's got drink all
Okay.
over it.
like
But
a
yeah.
patch thing.
You just got a
No,
ring
no,
stake that
literally,
way.
like if a badge press, like you, it's like an iron almost. I guess it goes over
Yeah.
it, and then
Okay.
when you finish, the badge is like that. Basically, I mean that's just resting on my enormous fat man tits, but it would be a badge. It would be
lovely
stuck
move.
there. I actually haven't got too big a move. That's the only
There's
thing.
your name.
They're
There's your
getting there.
title, Fat Man Tits.
I'm not you. This is a boring one, but I consistently have in my wish list a thing that the safety pin wants. He says, "No, he has lost me."
See?
It's like a little box, okay, and it's a headphone splitter, and I don't know really why I keep looking at it because I have no use for it. But the idea is essentially, so like your output of your sound comes into these, but this is a little box. It's only so big, only like that size, and it goes into the back and it splits into two signals. But on the front, you've got the controls for both of the headphones, so you could like literally have two people like if you were doing a podcast, it would be for that sort of thing. So like here's me on my mic, there's someone with their mic, but the headphones are coming out of the splitter and you can control them both with separate audio. Don't need it, have a requirement for it, but I just kind of keep looking at it and go, oh yeah, that feels like it's proper studio stuff, doesn't it? It's a headphone splitter, that's all it is. Not
And
very
a
exciting.
MacBook as well, presumably as well.
Yeah, I mean that's been in and out a few times. Yeah. Anyone else?
Plunger.
Why
I
don't
bought a plunger. No, I did. I bought. It was,
you did?
I've had a bit of a issue. Not me personally, but in our house.
Someone's been blocking.
Someone's just coming to your gaff and doing massive poos.
One of the children, I won't name them in case they ever do watch this, but they know. They made a slight mess, shall we say? And
It wasn't slight.
they were using kitchen roll. I don't know why.
Ah.
And like it's fully blocked. And like
Yeah,
up
so
until like for 36 hours, I wasn't able to go for a shit. And like
That wouldn't stop me.
I'm a tour, right? But,
As
like,
few as that.
Wow.
You have more than 2 shits a day. Sorry, let's just park.
Let's
this
just
story.
pass. Let's just move on
Yeah,
from
that's,
that.
that's insane.
No, let's just
Anyway.
move on.
Anyway,
More than two shits in the morning, mate.
I bought the plunger and it's not good enough. And it's
Oh, really?
still blocked.
Have you
but
tried a
I
coat
had to
hanger?
go.
Coat hanger.
so
Could...
have you?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we have issue in our this is gonna hate me for saying this and just go, oh yes, of course. In our downstairs toilet, we have.
I've got a downstairs toilet.
I hate myself. Okay, fine. So in our downstairs there, I think
Just
the
fitted a
plumbing
new
was just
toilet
how
Have
seat
you got
to
an
actually-
upstairs one as well?
Yeah.
Um,
I've got toilet seats
and,
now that when you pull them down, they go slowly.
oh,
So now you can literally just go do like that and then walk away and go. I know, and then you might hear just at the end a little, like just a really quiet one, and it's,
nice.
that's living. They were cheap. They were B&Q jobs.
Yeah, so we had the same issue, but I think more to do with the fact that it was plumbed wrong and there's probably loads of bricks and crap in the pipes or whatever, rather than a lunker. But we had to end up had a blockage in the toilet, and I got this plunger thing off Amazon, and it's called Luigi.
I've seen it.
Blue. Get it? Yeah.
Is
Get
it good?
mate. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I nearly
get a
went
Luigi.
for that.
We've got a Luigi sitting next to our toilet. Other plungers are available.
Covered in shit.
But like, yeah, just covered in my shit. Get a Luigi, mate. They sorted it out.
Right.
And it's satisfying as well, getting right in there.
Yeah,
Pushing the Luigi down.
I'm gonna pound the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Pound the
Yeah.
shit. That's literally what you have to do.
Jesus Christ. Anyone else got any shit-related products they have nearly bought?
Oh,
okay. Fair enough then.
I don't tend to have this moral dilemma. If I want something, I'll put it in the basket. It's because I'm going to buy it.
Someone else take the
don't
piss
know.
out of him for that. Don't make it always be me. Please. Don't make it
What?
always be me
What
that
do you
calls
mean?
him Prince Christopher or something. Like, come on.
No, I didn't mean like,
You-
I have all the money in the world to buy
You
anything
literally
I want.
said,
What
I
mean
don't
is
really
if I go
have
to
that
the
problem.
trouble-
Right, but why do people take
Yes,
things
because
back out of a
if I've already
basket?
Because I don't put them in if I'm not going to buy
No, but
it.
I'm
That's
saying
what
why
I
do
mean,
normal
not because,
people, Chris?
like,
Chris, why do normal people put something in a basket and then go, no, and take it out? It isn't because they suddenly go, don't want that. It's because can't justify that, can't afford it. Whereas you've just simply said, I don't have that problem, sir. I just placed it in my basket and just buy it every time.
What I'm saying is, no, all right, well, let me defend myself. What I'm
Sure.
saying is I struggle to
defend the
justify buying
indefensible.
stuff for myself. We've had this conversation. So my point is, because I struggle with that, I wouldn't even put it in the basket. If I've got so far as committing it to the basket, it's getting on checkout straight away. That's more what I'm saying. So I don't have a thing.
I think what you've done there is defended yourself by just saying the same thing again. You just described what you did a second.
Issue? I don't understand what your
mate,
issue is.
Listen, just for the record, no issue here. In chat, they're calling you Mr. Disposable Income and Monopoly Hyde. I haven't got any issues. Okay, it's nothing to do with me. This.
I would say that I hate chat, but it's just deadbeat punk.
Yeah. It's just Phil's not said anything yet, but give him a second. He does say though. Phil Tyndall says biggest surprise about It Takes Two is that it's published by EA, has friend pass, is €35, and it's consumer friendly. I get the feeling Fares says I'm doing it, and
when you compare,
yeah, no, you're right.
When you compare that to the fact that Balan is, I don't know, 70 quid or whatever.
Oh Christ!
Oh,
it just I know we keep comparing those.
That's
games.
an absolute toilet blockage of all
I
sorts.
get the feeling that if someone said to Adam Carroll, "Hey, bought a new game recently. Oh, yeah, what did you buy? Well, I was going to buy It Takes Two because I know you were raving about it. Oh, yeah. And I bought Balan Wonderworld. I think he'd punch them.
Ah, Jesus, and
I think he'd punch through, like with it through. You know, it wouldn't just be like a.
They would go down.
Yeah.
Well, I get Chris Hyde to send me his Luigi fucking plunger, and then I'd find that other person and stick it into their gob.
Yeah,
I've had it.
I suppose it's better than beating them down and slapping them with your cock, I suppose. So, I mean, you know, that could be a podcast title. But when Chris said a lunker, which is a phrase I've never heard before, we had a new king. We've had 3 this so far, but a lunker.
You've not heard lunker before?
No, I've never heard lunker.
Like an absolute lunker of a
No, I got what it was.
It's desperate to say, but I think a lunker sounds like an ice cream.
Don't be eating my lunkers, mate. Don't be licking them.
Yeah.
I think what you in your sort of
Magnum.
castle call a lunker would be something us commoners would say. I laid a cable, or you
My
know.
fucking castle.
Oh.
Thanks very much for watching.
A
or
lunker
listening.
on a stick.
Cat shit kebabs under the grill, mate. Rick Mail style. Thank you to everyone who came along live. Thank you to those who are watching or listening in the future. Make sure you do watch live though, because if you do, you wouldn't have missed the most amazing full start where I made a mistake. And also just brief apologies if there's been lots of frame drops. I'm not sure why. To be truthful, that started to happen. My PC should be able to cope with what is being broadcast. I will look into that, and apologies. That's in hand. And if you're not watching, who said stuff? A lot of people were saying stuff. Don't know what you're talking about. Deadbeat Punk says, wasn't the massive fish in Ocarina of Time a lunker? That's a chat for another time.
Okay. I was about to answer it, but never mind.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Leave it. Leave some mystery. Leave some mystery. We'll call you Mystery Monopoly Hyde. Okay. Chris,
Right.
and Adam, thank you very much for being here. Everybody else, you can go to godisageek.com. I'm not reading that last comment out. And you can go to patreon.com/godisageek to get early access and all sorts. And thank you so much. Again, I will look into any of the technical issues that's concerning me and I don't like it. Thank you very much for your time. And everybody else, we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now. Bye.